Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to PWR Weekly, the man they call Meathead, joined as well by the lovely Linda Kay and, well, Matthew Thomas. Matthew, you've survived snowpocalypse in Denver. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's start that over again. AEW Dynamite comes into Denver and snows over Matthew Thomas.
Yes, it was
Matthew.
not snowing when I got there, and then it was snowing so bad when I left, I had to try to walk to a hotel. My walking directions on my phone were not working, so I don't find the hotel, I find a bar, and I step into the bar for like an hour and a
Did you
half
sleep at the bar?
to warm up, and then when I leave the bar, my walking directions on my phone were working even worse than they were prior to coming into the bar. So I have to call someone who has a tracker on my phone. Yes, this is a real thing. When I go out by myself, I'm tracked because I've gotten lost several times on foot. So the said person that has
in your own city.
yeah, the said person that has a tracker on my phone was able to look at my location remotely via satellite and get me to the hotel where I found that my reservation that I booked through a company called, I think it was Euro Travel, they didn't, which sounded kind of sketchy because I was not traveling to Europe. All right, I was traveling like a 6-minute walk up the
You're
street.
scammed, is what it is.
But anyway, I was able to plead my case and get the last remaining room in the hotel that night.
Wow.
And then finding my car the next morning was a completely different story. So I've survived. I've had a little touch of something for like a week and a half, but it was well worth it for my experience on AEW and the entertainment that I was able to provide the viewing audience. Now, watching Dynamite and Rampage this past week, honestly, I was kind of bored because there was nobody in the crowd doing really cool stuff during the matches.
Linda Kay.
You were definitely entertained. We saw that nice and clear, but that was awesome. I'm glad you had a great time. Even though you were stuck in snowpocalypse, you have survived.
Linda Kay, I'll tell you, that Dynamite and Rampage from Denver, there was some jabroni in a pink shirt that just kept popping up over and over and over.
It was a
damn
standard
show.
long sleeve button down.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Who are you, Jay Peterman? Starting to sell me from the Peterman catalog?
That's the benefit of on the floor back rows. So you don't have to worry about inconveniencing anybody. And those seats are so tight. I mean, you're elbow to elbow anytime. So it doesn't matter if I'm sitting down or standing up. I'm still making everybody around me feel the same level of uncomfortableness. So yeah.
And that's something you're good at. So
it was fantastic. I will say though, I mostly enjoyed my I had never seen an attempt at audience blade job done on television, and that was my favorite part of the show. I was really happy to close Dynamite with that.
Yikes. Matthew, either sitting or standing, as you say, but wearing collar and elbow, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel nice and warm and it depends. Like if it's a wintertime and I want to feel warm and cozy, I feel warm and cozy. If it's a summertime and I want to feel nice and cool, I feel nice and cool in collar and elbow. It does whatever you need to in any environment. And if I had been a good boy and worn my collar and elbow brand clothing that night, I probably would have been a lot more comfortable in that snow that I got caught in. But if you want to see how you can be comfortable, whether it be springtime or summertime or fall time, or wintertime or autumn time, I know, which is technically the same thing as fall time. But I threw in a fifth season there for you. Head on over to collarandelbowbrand.com. Enter promo code Linda Kay, LINDAKAY. Saves you 10% off of your order.
Linda Kay, I know that we've also got a friend in Chris, and Chris is part of Pro Wrestling Insurance.
Absolutely. Make sure to visit our friend Chris at prowrestlinginsurance.com or at Pro Wrestling Insurance on Instagram, Facebook, socials. Find out about this affordable supplemental plan that you can add to make sure you are covered anywhere you are, even if you're stuck in snowpocalypse and if an injury had occurred, you would have been covered for as low as $8 a month.
Really? So you're saying a twisted ankle in snowpocalypse in suburban Denver would have been covered?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It could be me
really
falling back in my chair. Really, and you don't have to be a pro wrestler. Obviously, we have our pro wrestling audience, but this supplemental coverage can be given to anybody. It's available, I should say, to anyone. So prowrestlinginsurance.com, coverage as low as $8 a month. It is something outside of regular health insurance, just to clarify on that. This will get you paid if you get hurt, which is something that you don't get with regular health insurance, whereas you pay for that. But if you did have to pay for that, this helps get you paid back. that makes more sense, I think, just to kind of clarify that stuff. But visit Chris, have him clarify that for you, ProWrestlingInsurance.com. There's also event coverage for any promoters out there, as well as life insurance being available. So make sure to check it out. It is affordable, and I am happy that I am covered by ProWrestlingInsurance.com as well.
Matthew?
I wonder if I can retroactively do it and call him up and say, hey, Chris, I went to a pro wrestling event and I think I may have caught pneumonia. I need some of your pro wrestling insurance to get my pneumonia money.
Pneumonia money. No. But let's talk about something that rhymes very close. Monet. Mercedes Monet. And I don't know how to call it. You know what? I didn't like it at first, but I kind of dig her hair. I'm not sure what the design was that was going on in there, but she's got some like blue streaks in there that make a picture, and then there's blonde, orange, maybe reddish. Sasha Banks, now known as Mercedes Monet, debuts in New Japan Pro Wrestling, and backstage to celebrate their 10-year friendship / anniversary in professional wrestling, Bailey. Matthew.
You're right. I mean, you're an authority on streaking, so you should be able to provide excellent commentary on this. No, I did not expect her to pop up there. I think there's been a lot of talk of, does she return to WWE? Does she pop up in AEW? That has mostly been the dialogue. I didn't expect this, but my goodness, it just reiterates the fact that there is so much wrestling now that you never know where anybody's going to show up anymore.
Linda, your thoughts on Mercedes Monet, and is the Forbidden Door open to All Elite Wrestling this Wednesday night?
Ooh, I mean, that door is known to be rather wide open over at AEW. So we know the connection, the relationship, I should say, between New Japan Wrestling and AEW. I mean, I know I was kind of expecting the whole thing with like Paige finding her tag team partner, that with this possibility, it may have been Sasha or Mercedes Monet.
Yeah.
But we know that it was announced, I know I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but it's Tony Storm that's going to be her partner. Doesn't mean it still might not be Mercedes Monet, but great to see the big debut for New Japan Pro Wrestling. I don't know if it'll happen this Wednesday, but I think perhaps down the line, this is definitely a possibility to see her on our Wednesday and or Friday nights.
Well, since probably midsummer, it was right before SummerSlam, we had lost Vince McMahon as part of the WWE. He had stepped down as the chairman of the board. Vince is back, ladies and gentlemen. Vince McMahon back in the WWE, and he is pushing for creative control, which is being told that he's not going to get. But he's also hired J.P. Morgan to make the company sexy for a sale. Linda Kay, the WWE. I did the segue there on purpose. You got the lovely Linda Kay making WWE sexy. We got all that. But Linda Kay, the WWE is prime for sale. Who's buying? You buying?
Oh yeah, with my my sales that I've been attempting at these indie shows, I'll be able to afford the.
So all the money you made at the merch table, you've got enough now to get WWE's library.
Amazing. Wouldn't you believe it? No, I mean that's huge. I mean, there's been talks about it for quite a while now, but I don't think that's really been top of mind for many people as far as WWE, like with changeover. As we know, we did have the new Triple H era that's now possibly changing. So it's just kind of a lot to take in right now, but definitely huge news past couple days.
Yeah, no, I almost said Nick because I was thinking of Nick Khan, but Matthew Thomas, Nick Khan, Triple H, and Stephanie McMahon staying in charge of the leadership at WWE. Matthew, who are some of the possible suitors?
Well, I think Linda subliminally told us she was frozen there for a second. So I think
Anna and Elsa.
Yeah, I think that was her her segue that Disney, Frozen's Disney, right? Yeah. Yeah.
The joke was better when you didn't have to say Frozen is Disney.
Yeah,
we got it. You're good.
Familiar with all the animated stuff. I mean, that's more of your wheelhouse, Meathead. So
yes, sir.
I just wanted confirmation. I don't know, man. Like you talk about that's been the name that's been out there for a long time is Disney. And whatever it is, I think that when you have this potential buyer, you're probably going to get a much more separation between WWE and AEW and the other promotions, because whatever it is, man, if it's a conglomerate, I think that kind of the TV PG family friendly vibe that you have seen for about a decade and a half, I think that at least continues. I think the likelihood of them pushing the envelope in any regard, I mean, they kind of have to tread those waters anyway, since they're a publicly traded company. But I think that, I hate to say this, but, you know, this might make the case for a much more consistently sterile product.
Well, you know, Disney Plus, for example, doesn't have all family-friendly content. You got to remember, they have R-rated content on their platform. Disney, I mean, just the Marvel movies are PG-13. They can be PG, 14. They can, they have blood, they have violence. So, I mean, it would fit. However, I think that NBC Universal is the right place for the WWE Network, as all their content is already on the Peacock. However, the wild card in all of this is the Saudis.
Yeah.
It is quite possible, because they have a 10-year deal with the Saudis out there to actually put on their product, what did it call it? Crown Jewel, the greatest show ever, whatever they call it, 2 to 3 shows overseas. Who's to say that they don't throw some money at it as well? I don't want any of those. Okay. I don't want Peacock, because they didn't show the entire library and they neutered it. They kind of sterilized it. I don't want it to be Disney Plus. Okay. I don't want any of that. You know what I want? Triple H. Just step up and be you. Get the WWE Network. Work out your deal with Peacock. Hell, work out your deal with All Elite. Work out your deal with Max, which is HBO Max, which is just about gone now. Max and Discovery and all that. Work out a deal. Put it all in one place, so that way the wrestling fan will find a home.
Is Ted Turner still alive, right?
Yep. Yeehaw!
How about he just independently buy?
Whoa, Teddy Jr. Yeah. Ted Turner wants to get back in the wrestling business again, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we'll have to pool together our money. I've got my plasma money. Linda's got her gimmick table money. Matthew's got his supplemental insurance money that he made to get pneumonia during
absolutely. Yeah,
so,
yeah, Disney, like that was like my cue that I've got my Elsa braid today too, ironically.
Hey, let it go. Just let it go.
Actually, right? I've never seen that movie.
What?
No, I have no reason to watch Frozen.
Well, go ahead. Go to Disney Plus. Go into the unknown and watch both Frozen and Frozen 2.
I'm gonna throw a wild card out here in the sales talk that I've never heard anybody. We're breaking it right here on PWR today. Jimmy Carter. That's right. Former President Jimmy Carter pulling his resources together and buying WWE.
I don't have any sound drops available, but I mean, crickets right now would be probably the one.
If that ends up happening, man, nobody's talking about it except us right here.
Oh, okay.
All right. I thought you were going to say Jim Cornette.
Right?
Yeah, at DirtySheets.com broke it first. Yeah. Hey, let's speak about something else that maybe we were breaking first or maybe third or fourth. But CM Punk working out and trying to come back from injury. Does CM Punk, Matthew, return to AEW at any time this year?
Probably. I think that, it's professional wrestling. Bret Hart came back to WWE.
Sable came back after they pooped in her bag.
Yeah, Warrior came back.
Warrior came back. Macho came back. All of that. Yep.
Here's the thing, too, man. It's built-in money, and in the professional wrestling industry, it's not like you've never had a physical altercation between wrestlers before. Let's be real, man. You go back to territory days, you got people.
Sid Vicious tried to stab Arn Anderson with scissors.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, man, a lot of that stuff back in the day got buried, where now this 24/7, news and online and Reddit and message board cycle,
DirtySheets.com and all that.
Yeah, it's happening in real time. So it seems. But yeah, man, there's money to be made. And let's be real, that CM Punk run had never actually, you never got that crescendo there. It was kind of warming up.
Injury.
And I think now, you if he comes back, I think he potentially stays a long ways away from the title picture, because like you've got this built-in feud, this built-in story. But I mean, here's the thing, man. We've got a ladder match this upcoming week there. Wouldn't he be the fitting person to cost Omega and the Bucks that ladder match,
Linda Kay.
Yeah, I do feel CM Punk will be returning. I don't think it necessarily has to be so soon. I think it's a better element of surprise, and you make that big return at a huge pay-per-view or something where maybe there's another ladder match down the line that might be a big factor there for the Elite. But then again, as we discussed with pro wrestling, I mean, it's about the money. Having him there definitely brought more revenue and will continue to once he is back. If he is back, I feel it will eventually happen. I think right now, let's just still keep him on the wayside, let things, progress how they are right now. We've put that aside for a bit. We've got different storylines, different transitions, different feuds taking place. Let's continue rolling with that. When the right time comes, that's when Punk can make his huge, hopefully an announced return as well.
Here's the thing with CM Punk. Can CM Punk eat enough crow to come back? I don't know. Because
I think if it is pitched to him, and this would be the case most likely with everything that's happened, he would come back into the company as the biggest heel any company has seen in decades. I think what would appeal to him is actually using this to, really do business as a major, major heel. And, more specifically, had this incident happened in WWE, I think you would have had, a little more of a pop for him. It'd have been harder to kind of pitch this thing. But, everybody, the AEW fan base, they know what has gone on. And I think he comes in and leans into this as a heel. And the response, I think you've got the opposite of his premiere at the United Center. You have got heat that you can only hope to encapsulate.
Can't rub too many sticks together to get that much heat. That's what you're asking for. So, all right. Well, I mean, CM Punk at some point, hopefully in 2023, shows up. Hey, let's talk about the week that was, including Battle of the Belts, Rampage, Dynamite, SmackDown, which SmackDown, by the way, this Friday night in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Also, we've got Raw from last week, Monday, and there was a big deal. Alexa Bliss snapped on Bianca Belair, and we keep seeing the flashes of the upside down butterfly. This time we saw somebody standing in the crowd, Matthew, with a mask on. But it wasn't Uncle Howdy. It was just someone with a mask.
And I think we saw two separate people, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Two different angles. I really like this. I feel like Alexa Bliss, since Bray Wyatt's departure, she's really had a hard time kind of finding her lane. I mean, she's been kind of this toned down Alexa Bliss for a long time with Lily, so it's like we don't really have the dark Alexa Bliss, but she still had Lily to sell some dolls at the merch table. So I like them leaning into this. And what I really like is the crossover with Bray Wyatt. You have
it leads on to another show.
Yeah. They do it without them, connecting actually, on the same show. So it's something WWE doesn't do a ton, much less with male-female talent like that. So yeah, I'm really intrigued.
Okay. Linda, your thoughts on Bianca Belair, and do we go darker and deeper?
Absolutely. With this huge change and just the crowd being so excited for this as well as all of us, let's definitely keep rolling with this. Let's get Alexa back to where she was before. She was off TV for a while.
Yeah,
and remember when she was sitting on that box and like the black ooze coming off on her and whatnot. This is great.
I had a black ooze once too, but I saw a doctor. Everything got fixed up.
Yeah. Well, yes. But to your original question there, yes, I do believe let's keep rolling with this, especially now that we know we're gonna get that match between the two of them. So let's keep this hot.
Linda, Austin Theory retains his United States Championship, which is by default really the top belt on Raw right now. What's next for Austin Theory?
I mean, just keep on elevating him. He is a great champion, and just really putting more the U.S. title even on a higher pedestal than it was. I mean, I love just how over the years this U.S. title has just gotten bigger and bigger, and keeping something, having him go over on Seth Rollins and other huge stars. I mean, this is great. I think the whole thing, I mean, just the start with that low point that we had for Austin Theory not too long ago, just to keep getting it bigger and bigger.
It was a rebuild. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And then we are going to go into Royal Rumble season here, or we are in Royal Rumble season, I should say. And this should be a huge title match that should be taking place, I feel, at the pay-per-view itself.
Sure. Matthew, your thoughts on Theory real quick, and then really the opening of the show, the Bloodline, be it the Usos, be it Solo, be it Sammy, kind of just trying to destroy the whole place.
Yeah, I mean, Theory's, I go back to when the conversation was how bad Theory was buried after he had the failed Money in the Bank cash in, and they've really
the Fabergé egg era.
Yeah. They've really used this to kind of recreate, Theory and make him seem a much, much more viable threat. And I mean, I don't feel like he's talked about in the same breath right now as MJF, but when you look at dudes that are young and have all the potential in the world, I think Theory's got to be in that conversation. And, as we head into WrestleMania season, something that I've heard thrown around a lot is maybe potentially him crossing paths with Cena at some point between now and Mania. And I think that would be ideal to really put him on that next level. I don't know if they go that direction or not, but, Cena seems to be maybe like he's going to be around for the bulk of WrestleMania season. And I think that would be a very, very fitting, match to have right there. But for Sammy and the Usos, it's just, it's very interesting week after week watching this thing unfold. We've had something that has just really organically happened with Sammy and the Bloodline. And I think that, people are kind of at the edge of their seat every week to kind of see how this whole thing plays out. And this is something that if you drew up on paper a year or so ago, I don't think that people would necessarily have thought it had the legs that it has had.
Oh, it's got legs.
Yeah. And I mean, the other thing, a lot of the talk is on Sammy and the Usos, but my goodness, this has been the Roman Reigns that I think Vince always knew was there. When you had so many start and stops with the Roman Reigns push for year after year after year, I mean, it seems like fans kind of on both sides have kind of unanimously this run right now with the Bloodline and Sammy thrown in there and Heyman, like this has been almost universally acclaimed, not the acclaim, but as far as the fans there. So what a great reign to kind of cement Roman as the champion that I think top brass at WWE for years knew always get. And, credit to the WWE with Roman and also the Usos not being afraid to do these lengthy title reigns. I mean, it was a big deal some years back when Punk had his 434 days, and now it is almost becoming the norm right now for, not to hot potato these championships anymore.
Hot potato, hot potato. Mm-hmm. Hot potato, hot potato. Sorry, I was busy singing there. Hey, let's talk about Friday Night SmackDown. We're going to jump over Rampage. Excuse me. We're going to jump over Dynamite, and we'll come back to it. Let's talk about SmackDown real quick, and we'll talk about the Bloodline as they open up SmackDown. Sami Zayn does act, and the way the story goes, does act like he's the tribal chief when the tribal chief isn't there. So to have the whole thing go on that happened on Friday night on SmackDown, where he says, do you want to be the tribal chief? I love these little bit of seeds, these little seeds that are being dropped in there, Matthew, of maybe some dissension.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because we know the way this is most likely headed eventually. And each week when you watch it, when you watch the audience that's there, they know the rod's going to come to an end. They know they're going to have their heart broken at some point, and they're just waiting for it to happen. And I think this past week, we teased it probably more, than we have ever since Sammy to take the shirt off, and then he gave him the new one. So, it's so interesting watching everybody being bought into this right now.
There was a line, Linda, from The Office on the final episode. He goes, man, I wish you could tell when you're in the good times from the past, when they're happening, right when they're happening. Linda Kay, we are in those times right now. We will be talking about this run, this 2 years, 3 years, whatever it was, 10, 15 years down the road, we'll be talking about how amazing this was. And it was born, Linda, out of the Thunderdome era.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, this meteoric rise, I mean, like Roman Reigns has always been a star.
Right.
As Roman Reigns, but just this current Roman Reigns, and to Matthew's point, we're finally getting the fans behind him the way he was molded out to be from the start, I feel. So this is, again, to use the word reign, but definitely one I will remember in my lifetime, in my current era. That is definitely one of the best, if not the best. I mean, just bringing in the bloodline, the family, bringing in Sami Zayn, and just how well received this whole piece has been to everybody. And just knowing that moment's coming, we know, and I feel it's coming soon. But just to your point too, Meathead, about what we saw between Roman and Sami on SmackDown, having Kevin Owens be a part of that too. He was his music coming out, and him coming out to speak, interrupting what could have been explained more at that time.
Don't worry, Linda. We'll get to AEW when the Acclaim comes on. We'll have you do their song.
Oh, I can never get that right. I will. Now they gave me that heads up.
Go ahead, Matthew.
Something I think it's worth throwing out there. This gets a lot of comparison to the whole Daniel Bryan Yes movement in 2014. And I want to say, though, that I think this is in a lot of ways, a much better scenario, because you go back to that was basically the audience rebelling against anything that was not Daniel Bryan. This is them, it was them taking, a dump on Rey Mysterio. It was them basically anybody that was not Daniel Bryan.
That was the Batista year when he was coming back as a member of Guardians of the Galaxy, and he ripped his fancy glitter jeans.
Exactly. And the good thing about this is, like, there's not any other talent that's getting hurt in this, okay? Right. Not anybody else that's being disrespected. This is the audience buying in exactly like the people that are crafting this. You are going on the ride that is professional wrestling. So I think in a lot of ways, this is much more magical than that time period.
All right. SmackDown was amazing. We also had Charlotte Flair, the new women's champion, defeating Sonya Deville, and Ricochet qualifies for the Royal Rumble. A little bit of a heel turn possibly for Hit Row, but let's move into AEW Dynamite first. And the big spot was Darby Allin, Samoa Joe. There is not a single person that can come back and tell me, if they were to go back in their time machine and say, you know what, this is just another match for Joe to bulldoze through Darby Allin. Boom, Darby Allin, new TNT champion.
I mean,
Matthew, Linda, yeah.
Oh no, I like the order. Matthew, you go first.
No, I like this, and I really like the fact that we're seeing Darby by himself now. I think you're really putting Darby back on the radar, and I'm glad we got the match with him and Joe a few weeks ago where it was predominantly Joe. I'll tell you, man, Darby's matches are really, really interesting to watch. I mean, there's not, even if it's a Darby, if it's a pretty easy foregone conclusion. It's interesting to watch the psychology and the booking here, because, we got Joe just being the dominant force some weeks back. So it was really good to see, how they sold Darby still is the underdog, but, a lot more offense in this match than he had with Joe. So I think it's a really, really good move for Darby to have that title. And them really leaning into one of the faces of that company. I think they're doing a good.
One of the four pillars, as aforementioned, Linda Darby Allin, new TNT champion, and we'll get to it in a little bit, but he also accepted a title match for Rampage as well. But first off, the match with Joe.
Yeah, in his hometown, that was a huge, huge moment for him, or home state, I should say. Man, great to see that for Darby. And Matthew said it too. I mean, yes, Sting is still his ally, but this was something where it was just him out there, him dominating, him winning clean. This is just great. I like this movement. We were talking about the Yes movement.
They're both really.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For Darby Allin, and being a real, they say TNT, the TNT champion's the face of the brand, the face of TNT, and I think having Darby be that person right now is the right choice.
Linda, let's go into a movement over to our next moment. See what I did there? And we're going to have you do the Acclaimed theme song. How does it start?
I can't believe I thank you. I swear, I still think of Jay-Z. My irons
higher
is what comes to mind.
It's higher. There you go. Higher. Well, we're going to get one of two matches between these two teams. The Acclaimed Anthony Bowens and Max Caster took on Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett with Sanjay Dutt and Satnam Singh. And there was a false finish in this one on Dynamite. And they had started to announce that they were the new tag team champions. And I literally went, oh, come on. They got me. Aubrey Everest says, no, there was shenanigans. They restart the match. The winner's still champions, the Acclaimed. Linda, your thoughts on the match?
Well, that false finish was interesting. It made it fun. I was thinking the same thing. Like, wow, really? Like, I mean, obviously a lot of star power there with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal as a tag team, but there was a lot of heat in this feud, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel that if there was going to be a title change, there'd be a little bit more to this, or at least the feud being extended a bit longer if that was to happen. But it was interesting to have the other official come in, and because we don't see that happen all the time. Sometimes it's just like, hey,
it happened. Official
says, right. Goes. So they definitely made it more fun, and it gave us another match, a rematch on Rampage.
Absolutely. And, normally I don't, Matthew, I don't segue into this little side thing, but Jungle Boy Jack Perry, it's going to be Jungle Hook coming up this Wednesday night on Dynamite. Your thoughts on Jack Perry and Hook teaming up in tag team action?
It's a really good combination. I think they, will work really well together, and they pair up really well together. So I don't know that we'll get it all the time. This might be a one-off, but it's kind of cool. Although I wish I don't mind this name as much as I did Ward Joe. Although keep an eye on their cutesy nicknames.
Yeah, that's right. So really, throughout the rest of the night, we had just setups for Rampage and setups for, Battle of the Belts. Let's talk about it. AEW Rampage and Battle of the Belts. First off, on Rampage, it started off right away with the Blackpool Combat Club, Danielson, Moxley taking on Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin. You know what? BCC did their job and got these guys into an even bigger spotlight, Matthew.
Yeah, no, this was a good way to kick off the show. And now that we're kind of seeing a little bit more of Danielson, well, we see, we've still got the BCC together, but yeah, this was a fun matchup to watch. You knew the way it was going to go, but they made him look really good.
Linda, Hangman Adam Page now officially has his medical release from the doctor, so he will this Wednesday night be taking on Jon Moxley in LA on Dynamite. There's heat in this feud, right? I mean, there's a lot of heat. Moxley says a couple smart-ass remarks. Page gets all pissed off, but Page to me seems like the millennial cowboy, kind of pissy a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of wish that he had it on his phone, the results, and if we want to go more that millennial route, or
yeah, exactly. Hold on, I've got my vaccination card in here somewhere.
He's got his ProWrestlingInsurance.com app.
There you go.
Possibly in the works there. But no, this is great. I mean, there was the teasing that we got between the two of them the past couple of weeks. Like teases. I guess they were technically teasing one another face to face about everything. But I like how it's been laid out that he's still waiting for the official results, because otherwise he would have just done it